Well, it's a very good afternoon to you all. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the West Ham Boys, a live show. Haven't done one for God knows how long. So I hope you're all doing well. Impromptu, I woke up this morning. I was working quite late last night and I told work I wasn't logging in today. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with myself? I could go out and enjoy the sunshine, of course, but there's, that I can do that later. And I thought, why not do a live show? I haven't done one for God knows how long. So I hope you're all doing well. And I hope you're all not losing your heads over our transfer window and the lack of sort of activity that's happening. I know how you all feel. I know you all believe that by now we should have signed a whole new squad and we should be bringing new players in, instead of the ones that we've already got, or in addition to, should I say, the ones that we already have. But it's West Ham United after all. And how many of us really did think that we were going to get all our transfer business done within the first few weeks of the transfer window opening? I certainly didn't. But I must admit, I started to get a little bit worried when it got to the 6th, 7th week before we actually signed our first player in El Hadji Malik Diouf. But welcome to him, because I think, with Graham Potter wanting to bring in a new look squad, a younger squad, younger players, etc., I think he's a welcome investment. And of course, now there's really mixed emotion, isn't there, over the imminent signing of Kyle Walker-Peters. Now, it's been reported that Walker-Peters has agreed a 3-year deal. Apparently, he's having his medical today, may have already been completed. So for all we know, he's doing all the usual media stuff, the videos and the photos, etc., so that he can be unveiled as our latest signing. And I'm a bit sort of surprised as to the reaction about Kyle Walker-Peters, because for me, it's interesting. This time last summer, we were chasing him as a potential signing from Southampton, and we were, quoted, I don't know what it was, 15 to 20 million pounds for his signing. And West Ham United decided that, actually, it was Southampton didn't want to sell the player. They thought, excuse me, they thought he was best playing at the club to try and keep them in the Premier League, which didn't work out. And they kind of paid a price for it, because now, with Kyle Walker-Peters being a free agent, he can go and sign for anyone. And we've heard the story. He was imminently going to Besiktas in Turkey, but pulled out at the last minute. Now, you don't just pull out of a deal just like that. It's obvious that your agent has told you, hang on 1 second, you want to stay in the Premier League. There are clubs in the Premier League that want to sign you. Are you interested? One of them was West Ham. And I'm quite glad, to be honest, that we've got this player. He's versatile. He's only just turned 28. So although I know that we're sort of looking at a much younger looking squad, at the age of 28, he's younger than Soufal, who's left us. And he only turned 28 in April. So he's got a good few years ahead of him. And I think for me, that's a pretty decent signing, because not only people are asking, why do we need another right back? Well, let's not forget, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is going to the AFCON in January. And so we're going to need cover for him there. We also need someone who can play on the left side. I mean, all right, Malik Diouf we've signed, but we know that Walker-Peters is a versatile defender, a bit like Wan-Bissaka, can play on the right side or on the left side of defence. He can also play as a defensive midfielder as well. So a good utility player, a good solid defender, a good solid player, someone that I think, look at when we got Wan-Bissaka. I don't think many fans were really certain of Wan-Bissaka this time last summer when we got him. But look how much of a steal we think he is. He's become for 15 million pounds. Walker-Peters hasn't cost us that. Yeah, there's going to be a signing on fee. Yeah, there's going to be, sort of add-ons for agents, etc. But he's still coming for a lot less than what we signed Wan-Bissaka for. And if he's half the player that Wan-Bissaka was for us last season, I think we're onto a winner, to be quite honest with you. Experience in the Premier League, can provide essential cover, will give us options around the pitch. You know, maybe some people are suggesting, some fans are suggesting that it'll be Wan-Bissaka that will slip in a back three to allow Walker-Peters to play as a wing back. That's possible. That's also possible, but I'm not sure we'd waste Walker-Peters as a centre back, although it's an option. So I welcome it. If you look at the stats for the player, and what I've done is I compared his stats to those of Summerville, who he's replaced, and Wan-Bissaka, you can see that his stats are okay. Look, Wan-Bissaka is by far, the better player all round, but still, when you look at the stats, for Wan-Bissaka, for Walker-Peters, that's going to get confusing. Jean-Claire Todibo, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Carl Walker-Peters, James Ward-Prowse, all these double-barreled surnames. Anyway, Walker-Peters offers a better shot accuracy than both Summerville and Wan-Bissaka, superior passing accuracy rate as well, good possession of the ball, areas that Summerville excelled in, last season was crossing the ball, and he lost the ball less than both Walker-Peters and Wan-Bissaka. But otherwise, I think Wan-Bissaka is going to be a good option. Look, creating a lot of chances, 24 chances created for Southampton last season. There's a lot to like about Carl Walker-Peters, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. I'm quite glad we've got him. Of course, there's more work to do. We need a goalkeeper. We know that. In order to either compete with or replace Areola as our number one. Do we need any more defenders? Well, that's all down to whether we're going to keep any of our defenders. I know there's talk about Aguerd going, but at this moment in time, Aguerd is going nowhere fast. He's seems to be part of the West Ham squad. He actually looks as if, dare I say it, he looks as if he's with the squad with a bit of a smile on his face. So let's see if that happens. If we do sell Aguerd, then yes, I still think we need another centre back. But at this moment in time, it's not looking likely that he's going anywhere. Emerson, of course, I think now, even with Carl Walker-Peters coming in, we've got more than enough cover for Emerson leaving. We've got Ollie Scarles, let's not forget. We've got Malik Diouf, who we've signed, and Wan-Bissaka and Carl Walker-Peters being able to play on the left. We expect Emerson to be leaving sometime soon. So I think it's good. I welcome the arrival of Carl Walker-Peters. I think he's going to surprise a lot of fans, to be quite honest with you. So what about other news? Well, before I do that, I've got to say hello to you guys in the chat. Let's bring up some comments. I don't know if you can see. I can see the comments in the bottom right-hand corner, which is something new for the platform that I'm using. But there's the writing is so small I can barely read it. But I hope you can read it. Usual, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. If he's a freebie, then it seems a no-brainer. Well, if he's a freebie, a no-brainer only if he's a good player. And I believe we're getting a good player. Mr. McLaren, how are you? I hope you're well. I think it's good business personally. Homegrown as well. That's another good point. And he's quick, as I said before. He has got pace. You're absolutely right. What is the one thing we were crying out for last season? We were lacking pace. And I'm going to talk about one or two other players who have got pace in the squad that we kind of maybe have forgotten about. But absolutely, pace and can play in several positions. Good attitude. Good addition, in my opinion. Astute. I totally agree, Andy. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Joey, good afternoon to you. They refused 20 million from us last season. There you go. They paid the price. Unfortunately, that's the gamble you take. Gary, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. It's a decent signing. It makes sense. Anthony, good afternoon to you, mate. I hope you're well. Promising rumours. Elliott's talk still ongoing. I'm going to talk about him in a minute. Grealish wants to come on loan. I'm going to talk about him in a minute as well. I'm not late. You're always early. How are you, Paul? I hope you're well. Kim Joe, good afternoon. He's alive. It's not AI. Absolutely. I wonder if I can get AI to do a live show for me. Never thought of that. Matt, afternoon to you, mate. I hope you're well. Good afternoon to you, Dads. How are you? Bang on time. There you go. There you go. Gary, I'd love to have Jackie Boy at West Ham. I'll talk about him in a minute. Good afternoon to you, Obsidian. How are you? Dad's imagine Grealish and Fulcrum on a night out. It's a flowing. There you go. GP, how are you? I hope you're well. Obsidian. No such thing as a freebie. Signing on fees, agents, etc. Absolutely correct. Ricky, good afternoon to you. I see Sullivan waited until Potter was out of the country to go behind his back and sign Walker-Peters after we were told Potter didn't want him. Well, I don't know who told you Potter didn't want him. I'm not so sure. I genuinely don't know, Ricky, where that's come from, but that's not my understanding. But GP, thank you. Thank you very much. Don't keep wasting your money on me, but thank you. Gary, good morning, good afternoon to you. Dads, Walker-Peters is a smart signing. Our fullback, wing-back options are very good. Diouf, Skulls, Wan-Bissaka, Walker-Peters, Summerville. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you there. Matt, respect to all you YouTube boys, not a fan of the transfer window due to speculation and rumours, but some fans are going over the top in the comments. Unfortunately, it's the way it is. I understand it. I understand the frustration. We want all our signings done tomorrow, you know, and especially with Potter saying, I want our signings done early so that we've got all our new signings involved in pre-season. Pre-season starts this weekend, doesn't it? With the game against Grasshoppers of Zurich. All right, pre-season training started, but our first game is at the weekend. And then we go to on the American tour. You know, it would be nice to get, you know, more signings in before we're on the American tour. I agree with you there. West Ham faithful. What about Antonin in the hot tub? Antonin or Antonio in the hot tub? Yeah, I'll talk about Antonio in a minute as well. Steve, how are you, mate? Thank you for all your emails. Have you stopped drinking since our emails? Have you stopped drinking since our emails? No, you drive me to drink with your emails, mate. With beer and hot dogs. Matt, thoughts on our kits? Honestly, even if they go and sell for 25, I'm not enamored by them. But as I said, so long as the players can find each other on the pitch, they can wear green, red, yellow, blue. I don't really care. So long as they find each other on the bloody pitch. But no, I'm not enamored by them, to be honest with you. Dads, did anyone see Antonio take a dig at the club for giving him poor contracts that didn't reflect his stats? That was on his Beast Mode podcast. Unfortunately, if he's coming out with that, let's talk about Antonio, shall we? Because there is talk. Now, Antonio may be upset, but Antonio's got to face reality. And from what I've been told, there's a possibility, and it's a small possibility, that he may end up being part of next season's squad. Why? Well, for the simple reason is he's still trying to prove himself. He's still trying to demonstrate that he's capable of returning. West Ham are completely unconvinced, hence the offer that they made. Now, let's not forget, Antonio was on something like 100 grand a week, give or take, 90 grand a week, 100 grand a week. And there was an option for West Ham to extend his contract by one season. West Ham have offered him a deal, but it's on completely different terms. Now, I don't know the value, but I'm speculating it might be something like 20, 30 grand a week, maybe 40 grand a week. I don't know, with bonuses for playing, for appearances and all that sort of stuff. Antonio has turned that down, stating that there are better offers on the table from other clubs. Now, I said in a show several weeks ago, if there are better offers on the table, then why has Antonio not taken them yet? Reason being, there are no better offers on the table, which is why he's not moved. Now, he's training with the under-21s, of course. He's not gone to Germany on the pre-season tour. It's unlikely at this stage that he will be going to America. Now, look, it was a surprise that Antonio returned for the 3 games for Jamaica earlier in June. I was shocked, to be quite honest with you. Does that prove that he's 100% fit? No, it doesn't. You know, playing with the greatest of respect to Jamaica, playing in games like that, and then playing in the Premier League are very, very different kettles of fish. And I don't believe at this stage that Antonio has proven to be 100% fit. He's back, he's training, he's playing, but I just don't know. You know, are we going to rely on Mikel Antonio to run the channels next season? I think it would be very dangerous to do so. Nicholas Fulkrugger, he looks fantastic, doesn't he? He's lost several kilos. He looks fit. He looks happy, etc. And yes, he wants to be the main striker at West Ham. But we all know that we need something else. Is Antonio the answer? I don't really think he is, to be quite honest with you. But there is a young player that could possibly be. Now, don't get me... Premier League. Anyway, I don't know why there's a gap between the M and the I, but anyway, Callum Marshall. Now, look, he played for Huddersfield Town. He was their best player. I think he was their top goal scorer. I can't remember how many goals he got. I'm going to say 10, but I might be wrong. And he proved great. Now, that's League One, though. That's League One. Now, we know Potter is going to give several youngsters a chance. I'm going to talk about them in a minute. But Callum Marshall could be one of those youngsters to possibly be in the senior squad next season. He's not going to start games. You know, he may come on in cup competitions and stuff like that, but he might be a half decent backup to Fulkrug. But having said that, we still need another striker. I don't think Antonio's the answer, but it could be that if we do not get ourselves a striker, you might see Antonio back in the squad. It won't be on the contract that he'll want. And he may just have to accept that, or he may have to move on. He's not officially a player for West Ham, but we've given him grace to continue using the training facilities, and he's training with the under-21s. But let's see, Callum Marshall as a third choice striker, quite possibly. Now, many people are saying, well, if Callum Marshall, what about Daniel Cummings? I mean, we've signed him. Yes, we have. But Daniel Cummings is more likely to be a main part of the under-21 squad this coming season than being part of the senior squad. I think Callum Marshall is just ahead of him. He's a Northern Ireland international, senior Northern Ireland international, but he's got to prove himself in the Premier League. And granted, playing in League One, again, is very different to playing in the Premier League, but as a backup, quite possibly. But I want to see West Ham go with intent and actually get another striker in, even if it's on loan. Obsidian. Just heard who his agent is. Bet there was a nice agent fee involved. Roof, isn't it? For who am I talking about? Who's the agent for Roof? Is it? No, it's CAA. Anyway, Ricky. Macaulay would have done all the numbers, Max, and she's what did Max say? Macaulay would have done all the numbers, and she's super confident computer, and is super computer. KWP, but Sullivan said yes, plus he's a sort house player. Look, he's not a sort house player, is my understanding. Is not with that agency. I don't mind Walker-Peters. I think he'll be okay. Michael, good afternoon to you. I hope you're well. Question from Michael. Is this a Sullivan signing? Sort out. He's not. I don't think he's. I'm going to double check, but I'm pretty certain. You make me right, mate. You may be right, but you know what I'm going to do whilst I'm live. I'm going to actually go into his details. Let's see. Walker-Peters transfer market. There you go. And I'll tell you straight away who his agents are. And you may be right. And my computer's decided to go slow. So I'll come back to that in a moment. So if he is a sort house client, you know, he's probably one of the better sort house clients, wouldn't you say? Who else have we got? Steve. No point having a strong defensive. No one is up top. I don't have faith in Fulkrug, whether he can stay fit. Goes down injured again. Bowen and Bowen were also in the crap. Swimview, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining, mate. West Ham faithful. Let's see if that is up for Walker-Peters. Let's see again. Here we go. Walker-Peters is with CAA Base. That is not the Sort House agency. So just to confirm that, CAA Base is not Sort House's agency. West Ham faithful. Diouf also has played centre-back. Option to move him to the left-hand side. Walker-Peters on the left too. Plenty of... I didn't know that. I thought Diouf only played as a left-back and a left wing-back. But thank you for that. There are more options there. John, good afternoon. Walker-Peters is a good signing for both him and us. It would also help Scarles to develop. There you go. I'm glad there's some positivity there about Walker-Peters. Bill, good afternoon, mate. Walker-Peters will probably have no sell-on value, hence the 3-year deal. We know we're getting now. It's not the same as, with the greatest of respect to him, signing Rodriguez, as an example, on a 3-year deal, paying him something like 70 grand a week. Now, my understanding is, and expect him to be a squad player rather than the first team star. I agree with that. My understanding is like Rodriguez, we signed him. We gave him like a 3-year deal. He was already past 30 and something like a 75 grand a week contract. Walker-Peters was only earning something like 20, 30 grand a week. I don't believe that, but I've checked it with several. You can get these websites that give you player wages, or everything came up as Walker-Peters earning about 20 grand a week. I'm surprised. I think it's more than that. But even if we doubled that, even if we gave Walker-Peters 40, 50 grand a week, let's say, that's still not bad for a player who's only just turned 28, 3-year deal. He'll be 31 when that contract expires. So it's not a bad thing. It's not as where you're absolutely right. He won't have a sell-on value, but he won't be a player that's going to be a real massive drain on our resources, unlike a lot of the players we've got who are on 80, 70, 80, 90, 100 grand a week. So I don't mind. All tackled. Good afternoon to you. Walker-Peters has got pace, will fit well with the Potter system. Not sold on Grealish and don't think that Elliott will happen, rather than McAtee and Tyler Morton. Thank you for that. I'll come to those players in a moment. Ricky, so much for Potter wanting the small squad. We currently have about 28 first-team squad players. And there you go. That's a good segue into showing you who we've got. We've got, now, dare I say it, if we don't sell anyone else, dare I say it, we've still got on paper a pretty half-decent squad. On paper, I know there are question marks over the likes of Aguerd, question marks over Paquetá, whether he's going to be allowed to play or not. Question marks over Alvarez. So yeah, there are still question marks. Now, if a few more players leave, then absolutely we're going to have to sign them. But Potter also wants to bring in some of the youngsters. So it's an interesting squad at the moment. On paper, it's not that bad, is it? But these players have got to perform. I'll come back to that in a moment. But you're right, Ricky. We still have quite a lot of players on the books. Set Swim. Has Peter signed? Bit late on the chat. He's doing his medical. It should all be done and dusted, but a 3-year deal has apparently in principle been agreed. Steve, if no striker or creative midfielder comes in, going to be a boring season. We are going for a midfielder, a creative midfielder, without a shadow of a doubt. Who it will be, I cannot tell you at this moment in time, but we are. Good afternoon, Trini. I hope you're well. I knew Wan-Bissaka was going to be awesome. Could not believe Man United let him go for that price. This is a good deal for Walker-Peters. We need 2 players for all positions. I agree with you, Trini. I think it's a really good deal. I think we're going to do well with Walker-Peters in the side. Maxwell, Haggisberger, 100% still an Anton, meaty goodness. GP, you do worry me at times. Jay, good afternoon to you. Attackers, please. That's the next focus, I'm pretty certain. Matt, I wouldn't disrespect the championship. More like market knockoffs. More like, is he a market knockoff? I don't know. Anthony, Tyler Morton looks like it's happening. I haven't seen anything updated as yet, but if anything comes up, I'll let you know. Steve, Jay, striker should have been top priority. Should it though? Look how many goals we conceded last season. One could argue. You could argue any player. A goalkeeper is a priority because of the stick Areola got. Our defense is a priority because of the number of goals we conceded. Our creative midfield is a priority because we didn't create enough chances last season and we were lightweight in midfield. Our striker is a priority because we weren't getting players scoring goals. So which one is really a priority? It depends on your point of view. I'm not saying that a striker is a lesser priority, but look at all the other positions I've just mentioned. There is equal priorities, and Potter is doing what Potter does. He wants to make sure that the defense is sorted out. I think it's now done. Unless we now sell any more players, I'm looking at Aguerd and Mavropanos. If we sell one of them, then maybe we're going to have to go in for another central defender. If not, that's the squad we've got. And I think now we are focusing. All the talk is about midfielders, so I'm pretty certain over the next few days we will get 1, maybe 2 midfielders in. I think Potter wants at least 2, which might suggest that 1 or 2 players might be leaving. And then, of course, we've got to look at strikers as well. Ricky, all I can see is lots of players playing as square pegs in round holes. Will they, though? Have a look at this. How many square pegs in round holes are there? Aguerd, natural left-sided central defender. Kilman is better as a central defender, a middle of a three. Todibo on the right. Wan-Bissaka and Diouf, both wing-backs. We've got two natural midfielders in Alvarez and Paqueta. We've got Summerville, plays better on the left side of attack. Bowen on the right side of attack. Fulkrug, natural striker. You look at the bench, we've got backup. We've got backup in terms of Walker-Peters at this moment in time, Dinos, Ollie Scarles. We've got Potts. We've got James Ward-Prowse. We've got Souček, all natural central midfielders. And then in that bottom left-hand corner, we've got Cornet. Now, he's not going anywhere at the moment. And we know that he can also play in a number of different positions. He can naturally play as a left-sided wing-back. He can play up front, which he did before. And then we got Fulkrug. So, sorry, not Fulkrug. Then we got Guilherme. So at this moment in time, people, it's not square pegs in round holes. It's looking more balanced. What was the square peg in a round hole last season? It's the player that we just sold to Spurs. You know, he wasn't going to fit in on the left. Everyone said that Bowen is better than Kudus on the right. You know, he wanted to play. Isn't it amazing? He apparently told Chelsea he wanted to play as a central attacking midfielder. I wonder if Thomas Frank is going to play him in that position. He may well do. We know, and a lot of fans said, you know, he had his head down, never looked up. So at this moment in time, it's quite a balanced squad. Ironically, it actually really is. So with the greatest of respect, mate, I kind of disagree with you there. Who else have we got? Bill, appointed two goalkeeping coaches to replace Valero. That is odd. I must admit, I don't understand that. We've got more goalkeeping coaches than we've got goalies at the moment, or senior goalies. Jay, good afternoon to you. I feel like we have addressed defence for the last few seasons. I do feel like we have addressed defence for the last few seasons. Our attacking force is weak. I agree. We need more attacking players. How did you get in? Sorry, the cat's just walked in. Michael, why buy kids when we have our own to progress? Taylor Morton would take Potts' spot. So are we going to sell kids to buy kids? That's a really good question. And I would say to you that I'm not convinced on the Morton deal because we've got Freddie Potts. I think out of all the squad players at this moment, out of all the academy players at this moment in time, apart from Ollie Scarles, who's now established himself as part of the senior squad, I think Freddie Potts is the next one. And I make you right. I agree with that comment. I think, Michael, I agree that I'm a bit skeptical about the Tyler Morton deal because we've got Freddie Potts. If we see a Tyler Morton deal happening, that's because Freddie Potts has not proved himself in pre-season. So I'm with you. I'm with you. Ricky, with us concentrating on defensive players, I can see Bowen as number one, Potter striker, Fulkrug as backup, and Marshall as third choice. That's a possibility. Not many fans, Mr. Tiley, want to see Bowen out on the right as a striker. But here we are, because what could happen, of course, is Wan-Bissaka can play as a right-sided defender, or Walker-Peters can, with Wan-Bissaka or Walker-Peters in front of him, which means that Bowen can play up front. I know Steve is going to probably, Steve's head, Mr. Tidy's head, is probably steaming at the moment for me saying that. Now, I keep saying, and a lot of people, only got to look at the stats to prove it. Bowen, yes, of course he's dynamic. He's great going on the right side of attack. Yes, of course he's good, but his stats suggests he's as good as on the right side as he is as a striker. Look him up. I'm quite happy to do another show to prove that again, because with Walker-Peters coming in, you could have Walker-Peters as a right back, Wan-Bissaka as a right attacking midfielder, and Bowen up front. Or you could have Wan-Bissaka as a right back, Walker-Peters. You know, the options are good. Sorry, Steve. I hope you haven't fainted. Zan, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. This makes a ton of sense. He can cover both wing-back positions. He's cheap, knows the Premier League. A veteran presence will help Ollie and Diouf. Plus, this allows Diouf to play as a left midfielder with Peters behind. There you go. You've just made the point for the left side of attack as well. It opens up so many options. So I don't see why people would be against Walker-Peters signing. Lee, I reckon Potter agreed to it rather than go for the Spanish right back, as it means more money can go for midfield and Elliott. Absolutely, really good point, mate. Absolutely. It means that we've got a very, very good defender for next to nothing. Yes, there'll be a signing on fee. And I know people like Sean Whetstone will make a big deal of that. He didn't come cheap. You know, he signed on. I'll tell you how much you'd probably sign on for. About 3 mil. You know, 2-3 mil, give or take. And then wages of what? 40, 50 grand a week, which is a lot less, which will be rough, a bit more than Soufal was on. But given that we've lost quite a lot of players because of the end of their contracts, we can afford it. He will not be a financial burden on West Ham United as other players are. My apologies if you can hear the traffic outside. It's too hot with the lights on. It's too hot for me to have the windows shut. Mr. Wheel, how are you? From Brad and Gary out on the road. How are you, lads? I hope you're well. I hope you're doing well. Brad, I hope you're well. Gary, I hope you're well. I'm going to see you soon for the pre-season friendly, I hope. Mark, free transfer, but his agents take a nice backhander. Is that Will? No, it's not. CAA agency is not Will Salthouse's agency. I'm sorry to disappoint you, conspiracy theorists, but there you go. Phil, Bowen, I don't know. Is there a question about that, mate? You'll have to elaborate. Bill, Stell, have a word with Gary and Bobby Moorstan. He sells AI. Does he? I didn't know that. Steve, I will get peed off if Elliott signs. I can see it's crap from a Sully worker. I'll get peed off if Elliott signs. Why would you get peed off if Elliott signs? He's a decent footballer. I would welcome him because he will play as an attacking central midfielder. Trini, don't want Grealish at all. He won't improve us and he plays where Summerville plays. I want Summerville given a long run after the injury last season. And I'll make you right. I totally agree with you. I reckon Crysencio Summerville is going to be one of our important players this coming season. I really do. I think it was such a shame that he got injured in the first game under Potter, because I think Potter identified him as a key player. And fingers crossed. I mean, there's a lot of talk about Summerville not going on the American tour because he's not quite ready yet. I wouldn't bet against that. I think we're going to have to be careful with him. The last thing we want is for him to break down before the season starts. But I think Summerville will be on the American tour and might be used sparingly. And I'm kind of with you about Grealish, to be honest with you, mate. I'm not 100% convinced about Grealish either. Look, it's evident what Potter wants. Potter wants to reduce the average age of the squad down. Someone said it earlier. He also wants to reduce the number of players in the senior squad. Grealish doesn't fit into this, and I agree with you. I'd much rather see Summerville as the key player on the left-hand side of attack than Grealish, to be quite honest with you. West Ham notification. Join us behind the scenes. Yeah, we'll do that later. So look, people, let's be realistic. Jack Grealish earns about 300 grand a week. Jack Grealish was bought by Man City for 100 million pounds. Man City want to clear some space in their squad and are willing to let Jack Grealish go. We're looking for attacking players. So people are putting 2 and 2 together and going, oh, well, of course, it's Jack Grealish. My understanding is, from what apparently a senior source has said, is he's too expensive and he's not the player he was 2 or 3 years ago. That's pretty damning. That seems to suggest that we are not looking at Jack Grealish coming to West Ham United. Yes, of course, it makes good headlines. Oops, not the microphone. Yes, of course, it makes good headlines, but don't always. What have I always said to you ever since I started doing YouTube? You know, don't always believe all the stuff that's out there in the ether. It's not always true. I'm going to have to shut the window, aren't I? Because now there's someone drilling outside. I hope you can still hear me. Anyway, so yeah, I'm taking the Jack Grealish rumours quite lightly. Even if Manchester City allowed him to come on loan to us, they're going to want a loan with an obligation to buy, which means that we might have to find, I don't know, we might loan him for like 6, 7, 8 million pounds now, and we might have to get maybe 30, 40 million pounds next summer to buy him outright, the obligation to buy. And then who's going to pay his wages? Even if Manchester City were to agree on subsidizing 70% of his wages. 60, 70% of his wages. He'll still be 100 grand a week for us. And then the minute we have to sign him, we're going to have to find the 300 grand a week. It's not going to happen, to be quite honest with you. Good afternoon to you, Paul. There she is, Sushi. She's bored. She's gone. Good afternoon to you from Belfast, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Finn, how are you, mate? Seeing the source once again shopping in the bargain bin. I don't agree. I think someone else said that Potter would have agreed the Walker-Peters deal. One of the things that Potter has done, which I talked about in a recent show, excuse me. Unbelievable. Someone's decided to start drilling right outside the house. I think one of the things that Potter has done since he's been at West Ham is to turn down offers of players coming to West Ham. He's refused certain offers. Andre Silva, the striker, in January was offered to West Ham. He turned it down. There was another one or two players. I did a show recently, but forgive me, I can't remember who it was I mentioned. Potter is not going to allow Sullivan to just sign whoever he wants. Potter would have signed off on this, and it makes a hell of a lot of sense to get him. Jay, I heard earlier Danny Dyer has told Bowen he understands if a Champions League team comes in for him, he can leave. Yeah, it's not up to Danny Dyer who stays and who goes. But yeah, if Man City, for example, made a bid on Bowen, what would we do? What would we do? That would be quite an interesting call. But my understanding is there's no such call at this moment in time. So I don't know if there are any Bowen rumours out there, but I can guarantee you Bowen is not on the shopping list. Bowen is not on the list of players that West Ham are looking to leave at the moment. Steve, my emails as a fan of 54 years are just mine. They're more than welcome, Steve. Absolutely. Matt, good afternoon to you. Or did I say good afternoon already? I understand it from Antonio's point of view, but however, we as a club stood by him through his highs and lows, regardless of his private problems. Oh yeah, by the way, commiserations to Antonio for losing his mother just the other week as well. We stuck by his side. He should be grateful. Yeah, look, we are not a charity. We've got to cut our huge. Everyone's sort of asking. We sold Rice for 100 mil. We've just sold Kudus for 55 mil. Where's all the money gone? The money's gone on all the wasted transfers that we brought in. I did a show. How many players have we actually bought and sold for far less than we bought them for? And how many players have we put on these huge contracts that we can't get rid of? Rodriguez, 75 odd grand a week, and players like that who now we can't shift. We can't shift them because they're on high wages. That's where all the money's gone. Who else have we got? Paul. If no further signings, my first 11 will be Areola, Aguerd, Kilman, Todibo, Wan-Bissaka, Diouf, Potts, Alvarez, Bowen, Summerville, Fulkrug. This would be my first 11. Not far off that, to be quite honest with you. Aguerd, I'm going to talk about him in a minute, to balance the central defence. Todibo, Kilman. We know Todibo plays better when he plays centrally. Then Wan-Bissaka, Diouf out wide, Alvarez and Paqueta in the middle. Bowen, Summerville, flanking Fulkrug. That's quite balanced to me. And then you've got options. You've got options of the youngsters. What I've done here, I've put Irving, Emerson, and Rodriguez on the right side because I think they will be leaving. I should have rephrased that. It's not all players leaving because I don't think Callum Marshall or George Earthy will be leaving anytime soon unless they go out on loan again. And then there's Antonio at the bottom. And then you look at our bench. There is a gap, a striker. We need a striker. We need a creative midfielder. I don't disagree with that. But, on the bench, we've got Cornet, we've got Guilherme, Souček, Kyle Walker-Peters. We've got players, but I don't disagree. We still need an attacking midfielder and another striker. Finn, we should be moving on from East End Heskey anyway. We should be moving on from East End Heskey even prior to his injury. Oh, yeah. Antonio. Matt, when I was a carpenter, I suffered a bad injury. My company could only pay me 2 months sick. He got to the point I had to be sacked. I wish I was on 100 grand a week to be sick. Absolutely. Trini, we need a backup for all positions. Fulkrug looks fit and healthy, but could get flogged without backup. I totally agree. Michael, And Antonio at his age should be grateful just to have a football job. He doesn't need the money with his earnings over the years as time goes by. Mandy, how are you? Good to see you. Far behind am I? As usual, far behind. I hope you're well, Mandy. Should we be concerned that given our budget, we're spending it on defenders? Does that mean this year is survival mode? No, I don't think so. Look, selling Kudus has done us a massive favour in terms of what's that bloody thing? PSR. It's done us a huge favour in terms of PSR. It's settled. Now we've got that. Let's not forget, the teams that sell players to us are not getting all the money in one go. The teams that we buy players from are not getting all the money in one go. But in terms of how you account for the money, we can account for all that money now. And then when it comes to buying players, we can account for that money over 3, 4, 5 years. So the £55 million has gone a long way to settle PSR, which is a really, really good thing. But now that means we've got, we don't just have, after buying Diouf, we don't just have 55 less 19 million, so 35, 36 million. We've got more. We can actually do more than that. We can buy 3 more players because what we'll do is we'll pay money up front, maybe 10 million up front, and then the rest over 3, 4 years. So we can buy another 3 players at this moment in time and put a down payment of 10 million on each one. So Diouf, plus another 3 players that we buy, plus another, plus 1 or 2 freebies. So long as I've always said, so long as the free agents are the right free agents, I think Walker-Peters is the right free agent. So we can do that. And of course, then we can go out and loan players if we really need to. So in essence, at this moment in time, we could end up buying, we've got the ability to buy 4 players, get 2 on loan, and get 1 or 2 free signings if we really wanted to. We could go that far. I don't think Potter wants to go that far, but we can do that. But that would mean that we'd be looking at, if we're going to bring in so many players, that would mean 1 or 2 of these players on the current in the current squad will be leaving. Like I said, question marks over Aguerd, question marks over Alvarez. We don't know if Paqueta is going to be even allowed to play next season. Souček, apparently, Everton are making a bid for the player of a ridiculous amount of £12 million. Isn't that typical of Mr. Moyes? He knows the value of Souček. He knows damn well the value that Souček will bring. And yet, apparently, Everton have made a £12 million bid. True or not? I don't know. I guess we'll know further in this transfer window. West Ham faithful, I think Callum will go out, and I do too, to be quite honest with you, mate. I think there's quite a few young players that are likely to go out on loan this coming season. Callum Marshall, quite possible, maybe just not Premier League ready yet, and maybe he needs to prove his worth in a championship team. I would agree with you. Like I've talked about, Daniel Cummins, I think Potts will make the senior squad. And then we've got George Earthy. Now, apparently he'll be given a chance to shine as well in this pre-season. But my sort of instinct tells me that George Earthy is very likely to go out on loan again next season. And then, of course, we've got the very talented Lewis Orford, who will also, I think, go out on loan this season. So I think Potts will be the main academy player to come into the senior squad. I'd love Callum Marshall to come in and prove us all wrong, but I make you right. I think he might go out on loan as well. Steve, I will go ape on deadline day if Wilson or Lewin come in. It's already been said. We're not, this is the one thing that we've got to get. We've got to understand we're in a different era now under Potter. Potter wants a younger squad. All right, people are going to go, well, hang on a minute. Walker-Peters is 28, only just turned 28. So I think he's still decent. But we're not going to go out for Wilson or Calvert-Lewin. We might as well keep Antonio if that's the case. Matt, I will forever love and respect Antonio, but I think it's time to move on. Vardy had to with Leicester, played all different positions. All-time goal scorer, 8 million for 10 years. An absolute bargain, but I agree with you. It's time to say goodbye. Josh, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. I don't know much about Walker-Peters, about experience options across the defence is good. Odd for us to make a sensible signing. The cover for AFCON is very cover for AFCON as well. There's so many good reasons why Walker-Peters is a good buy. Trini, I read somewhere Paulinho is not happy at Bayern. Any truth? No, we're not. We're absolutely not sniffing around for him because Bayern are going to want 30, 40, 50 million for him. He's on a high wage as well. Absolutely no. No, definitely not. GP, what does the XP thing mean? If I get the most, do I win a date with Stell? I'm worried about you. Steve, don't want Morton. I'd rather give Potts a go. We agree on something, Steve. There you go, mate. Andrew, Elliott now gone 10 to 11 to us next club odds. Look, I don't mind. If we can do a deal for Elliott, I don't mind getting him. I think he's a talented footballer. I think he would add value to West Ham United. But the senior source says he's too expensive. It's all about what Liverpool... Now, Liverpool have apparently given him a permission to go and talk to teams who have an interest in him. But it's all about what Liverpool want. There's all this stuff about Liverpool. We want 40 million with a 50 million buyback clause, or they're going to want 50 million outright. There's no way, with the greatest of respect, Liverpool, there's no way that you are going to get 50 million for Elliott, Harvey Elliott. In the same way as there was no way we were going to get 85 million for Mohamed Kudus. So I think Liverpool are going to have to be realistic. But what Liverpool know to their advantage is that the player is very much in demand. Newcastle are interested, Everton are interested, Aston Villa are interested, although they've got to sell before they buy. We're interested. Why would he come to West Ham? Because out of all those teams, he's more likely to get more regular game time than he would be at most other clubs. Aston Villa have got a big squad. You probably rotate there. Newcastle, big squad, might have to rotate there, although I can probably see him as a starter there. Everton, yeah, but then he's got to decide Everton or West Ham, which might be the better option for me. David Moyes or Graham Potter? Look, I would welcome him, but it's got to be for the right price. There's no way if Liverpool are insisting on 40, 50 million pounds, there's no way. Now, I did a show a few days ago suggesting that we could offer a deal of a loan with a possible obligation to buy. That might suit all parties, or even an option to buy. Look, if Liverpool have really got a buyback, if Liverpool really want a buyback clause on him, it means that they value him and they might go, look, you know, we want you to go out, but, you know, we want to have you back. An option to buy, a loan with an option to buy might suit Liverpool, because what they'll do is they'll see the player in action in the Premier League. They'll see how he's doing on a loan deal. And then if he's done really well, of course, we would lose out with an option to buy because we wouldn't have an obligation. But if Liverpool see that there's a really good player there that's done it for a team like West Ham, then they'll go, thank you for that. You've developed him for a season. We're having him back. At least we would have had him for a season in a position that we know we need to fill. I wouldn't be averse to having Elliott on an option, a loan deal with an option to buy. And if Liverpool really value him and want this buyback clause, it might be a better alternative for him to come to us in that deal. Diggy, how are you, mate? Any ideas what the rumours regarding Bowen leaving are coming from? Where have they come from? I mean, is it because Danny Dyer has said, if he goes, I would be happy for him to go to a Champions League club? Because I've not seen any rumours about Jared Bowen leaving West Ham. So please let me know. So no, as far as I'm concerned, Diggy, there is no truth where they've come from, or that I don't know where the rumours have emanated from. Matt, happy for Wan-Bissaka to be playing for his country than England. It's nice to see foreigners due to British citizenship play for England. But for me, represent your roots. I could represent England or Mauritius. You know, I think Wan-Bissaka was waiting in the wings for maybe England to come to, play him. Didn't materialise. I think he might have been picked for a squad or two. He certainly played for the under-21s. I don't even know if he got picked for the senior squad or two, or a senior squad or not. Jay, I think we'll be in dreamland if Grealish came on a season-long loan. I genuinely, with the greatest of respect, I'm with Trini. I want to see Summerville develop there. I don't want Grealish coming. And Man City want to get rid of the players, so they'll put clauses in. You know, you're going to have to buy and be an obligation to buy. We're not in that position. Darren, how are you, mate? Any news on us after a striker? We definitely need cover. No news on a striker yet. It's all eyes after Walker-Peters signs. It's all eyes on midfield at this moment in time. Carl, good afternoon, mate. Good backup signing. Not excited at all. 2 more defenders in, which means we'll probably make 1 shot a game instead of 2. Trini, is Morton advanced in his development than Potts? Not sure he... No, I don't think he is. It's a shame because I wanted to do a comparison chart for Morton and Potts, you know, when they're both in the championship. I think Potts comes out on par, you know. So no, I agree with you. I don't think it's any further forward. Anthony, Potts needs to be given the freedom on the pitch. Well, Potts needs to get into the team first, but he's a good defensive midfielder. Would he become a box-to-box, a bit like Declan? I don't know. Is it true we're after Grealish, Darren? If it's true, do you think it will be good for us? Hopefully he will be. Can be brilliant on his day. Can be brilliant on his day. From my understanding is that we are not after Jack Grealish because, as the senior source said, he's not the player he wants 2 or 3 seasons ago. Carl, midfield biggest priority. We cannot start the season with Ward-Prowse and Souček because we'll be rare. I don't think we'll get relegated, but I make you right. I don't think we can start with those 2 players. I agree. I'm saying if we sign Grealish, I might start drinking in London again. Got to be good for a laugh. Usual. Ferguson off to Roma. He swapped beer for wine. We still don't know if that's still happening, but that's the rumor. Todd, Paqueta and Alvarez will be going. We don't know. It's quite possible. I think if Paqueta gets off his FA hearing, I think he will be sold. I actually do. I think he will want to get away more from the FA than anything else. Alvarez, well, we still don't know yet. You know, there's talk about Alvarez potentially leaving, but there's still nothing confirmed about whether Alvarez will stay or go. Look, after the CONCACAF Gold Cup, his stock has certainly risen, and he will certainly have attracted interest again from who is it? There's a club in was it Bayern in Germany that I think are interested in him. They would have seen his performances in the Gold Cup, and it's quite possible that he'll go. If it is, then maybe that's why we're linked with Morton. Maybe. Steve, let's face it, Dinos, Aguerd, Ward-Prowse and Souček should be shipped out. Dinos, possibly. Aguerd, no, I don't know. But we would have to replace Aguerd if need be. Ward-Prowse, we're not going to be able to sell him for the money he's on. He's on 115 grand a week. We're going to want 20 mil for him. And I don't think anyone is going to be willing to buy him for that. Souček, I think he's got his value, despite all the, a lot of fans not liking him. So I agree with you on some, but not on others. GP, Grealish will be exciting on the left with Bone on the right. What about Summerville? I look much more forward to seeing Summerville than I do Grealish. Michael, we missed a bullet with Duran. We dodged a bullet with Duran. Heard he's fallen out with Mourinho already. What about the young kid Kante, Mike? He's under 21s. I don't think we're going to see anything of Kante in the senior team this season. Mandy, that lineup looks great still, but take 2 offensive out through injuries, and it's terrible. Totally agree. I'm not saying, I'm with you. We need backup. We need reinforcements. I totally agree with you. But it is balanced. But I do agree. We need a bit more in midfield. We need a bit more steel in midfield. And you're absolutely correct. Summerville, Bowen, Fulkrug getting injured. We need backup. You're spot on there, Mandy. Totally agree. Darren, can see Paqueta staying if he's found not guilty. Hope so. Kudus is gone. He seems a lot more happier. I was going to do a show about that, about the how all the players look now that Kudus is gone. There was a lot of talk last season, wasn't there, about stuff going on in the background. I don't want to put it on Kudus because I don't know for sure. What we do know is Kudus was unhappy when he got subbed in the game against Brentford away. He wasn't happy about that. And then, of course, the fallout when we played Spurs and he sort of went into one. But then I linked that to him not having a good time with Ghana. The Ghanaian team didn't make AFCON. There was a lot of journalists, etc., criticizing him, Kudus, in his Ghanaian when he was playing for Ghana. And I thought it was more to do with that. But I'm just now beginning to wonder, with Kudus gone, we saw his demeanour on the pitch. I kind of said, look, I think he's trying, but there were many times last season when Kudus got the ball, he stopped and passed the ball back rather than going forward. And I couldn't understand that. And I thought, well, what's going on there? You know, and some fans will say, well, that's what he was told to do. Other fans will say, well, he's just... And the number of times when... Wasn't it Antonio that said to him in training that he's too greedy? And with Kudus, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at Tottenham next season with Kudus. Because with Kudus wants to be, you know, the main man. He wants to be the key player. And I talked about when there was speculation about where Kudus might be going to. I was speculating that maybe clubs like Newcastle or Spurs might be the best options for him. Chelsea, he'd be a squad player. Arsenal seemed to have lost interest in him, but he would have been a squad player. And didn't he say to Chelsea, if you buy me, I want to play central attacking midfield? What? Instead of who? Cole Palmer? I don't think so. And it kind of started to look more obvious that Spurs might be the team. Offer Champions League, you know, and what he wants. And I think it's going to be interesting because you look at the all right, it's pre-season. Of course, everyone's going to be happy they're all back, etc. But I do wonder, without Kudus in the squad, whether the squad is going to be happier. I don't want to be that man to throw out conspiracy theories, but it's just interesting what may happen now with Kudus gone, and maybe if it's a happier squad, who knows? Steve, Rodriguez, Irving, Cornet, when he is fit, well, he's fit at the moment. Rodriguez, yes, I agree. Irving, I agree. Yeah, I think they probably will go. Iron Seibel, how are you? Kudus was a diva. Who else have we got here? John, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Stel is jumping the gun. He had a pop at me over a post I read 2 hours before this news broke. Potter was asked if he wanted Walker-Peters. He said no. Now nick him off the Turks for less than the Turks offer. I don't know where the story has come where Potter has said no to Walker-Peters, but correct me if I'm wrong. Trini, we got mugged off with the price of Kudus. We should have gotten what his release clause stated, especially to the Spuds. It was never going to happen, Trini. You know, it was that was a noose around everyone's neck, you know, in terms of 85 mil. Oh, 85 mil. We can only go for 85 mil and nothing less. That was never going to happen, mate. But I agree with you. Maybe we should have held out for more. But then when you look at some of the players that kind of have similar roles, Elanga and various others, going for around about the same sort of price, maybe we did well. Maybe we did well. Mandy, Kudus, poor Dawn, discipline and attitude cost us an extra 20 mil. Yeah, cost us maybe an extra 10 mil. But John, Stel, just arrived and say, how did you get in? Talk about not being wanted. I hope you're well, John. Carl, they are using Morton as a tool to make it look like we want youth. I'm not sold on Morton, to be honest with you. I think Potts, you know, like we've all said, deserves his chance. Begains, good afternoon. Do you feel that our midfield is the area that needs the biggest improvement? I would say yes, to be honest with you, mate. Yeah, I would. I think we really need to focus now on midfield. GP, but at least Kudus is gone. Better to get the 55 than the player who drags the morale down. There you go. Trini, forget his form. We had a release clause and they were nowhere near it. Our owners, we were never going to get the release clause, mate. Dallas Bone is not a striker. I'm not saying he is, but the stats prove that he can be as effective there as he is out on the right side. Mario Stroikens still hasn't moved. No, he hasn't. This is the worry about all these transfer stories. We hear how many transfer stories have we heard? You know, and now I'm beginning to think Onyedika, another holding midfielder, nothing there. Stroikens are nothing there. Lucas Stassin, the striker from the French club, nothing there. You know, all these rumours happen and then it all goes quiet. Let's see. Steve, I'm not steaming still. I'm just saying if Falkirk gets injured, which he has proven in the past, Bone gets injured, who's up to... I don't disagree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you, but we do have Maxwell Cornet. I know that's going to wind you up, but look, Max, you know, it'd be like a new signing. At this moment in time, he's part of next season's squad. because there's no one in for him, a bit like Aguerd. There's no one in for Aguerd. We've got so many players at this moment in time that there are question marks over. But Knife Aguerd, all the bids, and I'm quite glad we're holding out with Aguerd and with Cornet. We made a massive mistake last season in loaning these players out. We were paying a huge chunk of their wages, which means that we're it's our financial loss, paying a huge chunk of both those players' wages so they can go and play for Real Sociedad and Genoa, respectively. We want money to come in order to be able to buy players to replace those players. So I'm glad that we're holding out. If any team wants to loan these players out, they're going to have to take the full brunt of their wages, rightly so. And if they don't want to loan them out, then they're going to have to buy them if they want them. I'm worried that we're going to be stuck with Cornet. I'm not so worried that we're going to be stuck with Aguerd. Cornet, who knows? Who knows what sort of player we might get, or whether he just picks up another injury and he disappears again for the rest of the season. Aguerd, I don't mind having Aguerd because he will balance the left side. We know he can be a decent central defender. Certainly for Morocco he is. Certainly for Real Sociedad he was. But why not for West Ham United? Look, all the stories about Aguerd he didn't like, because we were relentlessly under attack, under the Moyes system, etc. That's why I'm kind of surprised that Aguerd didn't give last season a try when Lopetegui replaced Moyes. He's got another option now, Aguerd. Potter apparently really wants him. So let's see what happens there. If he stays, I'm all right with Aguerd. Cornet, not so sure about. Glenn, my mate Jared just told me Nick is leaving Claret and Booth. Is he? I don't know. Who else have we got? Michael, question. Guilherme is also a year older and looked good when he was actually given game time. So I hope to see more of him. Exactly. We've got a number of players in the squad that this might be their season. Guilherme, a year wiser. Summerville, we didn't see anything of him under Potter. He's coming back. Fulkrug looks fitter, but I agree we do need backup for him. We don't know what's happening with Alvarez and Paquetá, but Aguerd staying, I'd welcome it. Maybe under a Potter system, he might flourish. Mr. Cater, good afternoon to you, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. I'm trying to catch up. I'm half an hour behind. So let me just run through some of these comments. Dallas, cheers, Steve. He's got the inverted left foot, right wing down pat. Striker takes a peripheral vision that I'm not sure Bowen excels at. I think you're talking about strikers. Darren, Jimmy thought he could mend on paracetamol. Josh, Grealish will be classic West Ham signing. I did not want that to happen. Give Guilherme game time. Totally agree. Trini, no diss, but I would be very surprised if Elliott joined us. He will see himself joining a so-called big club. Mate, I kind of agree with you there, mate. Finn, Harvey Elliott is the annual senior source name to tell his sycophants that we tried. I think we could possibly get him on loan. I agree with that. Dallas, I must admit that Grealish at West Ham would be interesting, but not at the cost of Summerville. Cannot wait to see what he can do. I'm not sure Grealish will happen. I'm more confident on Elliott than I would be on Grealish. Brian, how are you, mate? It has been a while. I hope you're well. Look for my BS Out banner at the first game in America. Sign the petition. Good to see you back on. Thank you, mate. I hope you're well. Rupert, no guarantees with Summerville. I've heard he won't be ready until September. Another injury risk to get back to form and fitness. Definitely need a top midfielder and forward and a keeper. Well, I think Summerville might surprise us all. Mandy, would Sully refuse 100 mil for Bowen? No, he would not. He absolutely would not. If you're offered 100 mil for any player, you take it. But think what you could do with 100 million. Oh man, good afternoon to you. Peters will cover two positions, and we need to get that defense stable. Need a ratter ball winning midfielder. I agree with you. GP, if we sell Bowen, there would be protests. I agree that they would be upset. I agree. And I'm not advocating it, but getting 100 mil for Bowen at the age of 29. Do we think there's a chance Aguerd will play for us this season, Dante? Yes, I do. At this moment in time, very possible. We'll see. World Cup year, so Bowen could be tempted to leave to make sure he gets into the squad. I think it'd be totally out of order if Bowen didn't make the England squad just because he plays for West Ham United. I think it would be totally out of order. John, it'd be November, December before Summerville is ready. I think it'd be sooner. And I don't want to be a damp squid, but we will get a few injuries, so players can cover for others will be paramount. I totally agree. Wasim, I don't want him to leave, but you're right. We'll only win when West Ham players are in the team. I don't know who you mean. Kalita, good afternoon to you. Sky Sports said El Kudus would cost more than 25 million euros. El Kudus, there's another player that's on the list, isn't he? I'm not overly convinced on El Kudus, to be honest with you. He's one of many options in attacking midfield. Did he shine for Leicester last season? I'm trying to think whether he did or not. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? El Kudus, decent prospect? I don't know. Wasim, if Bowen ever left, I would take Yamin Lamal as his replacement. Yeah, I don't know. Would he be as good as Bowen? 2 up, 2 down. Afternoon to you as well. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Let's scroll down a bit. Darren, he would need to leave to get into the World Cup squad. Would he? He wouldn't need to leave to get into the World Cup squad. Look at the last squad. I think he was there. Was no players from 3 big clubs. I don't think he'll need to leave. Mounster, good afternoon to you. Ward-Prowse would need to have an exorcism to get the Tottenham bozo spirit out of him. We'll kick it out of him. Kalita, just heard Claret and Blues saying Bowen was for some. Well, no disrespect to Claret and Blues. I don't know where they got it from. Maybe they've got a contact that I'm not sure of. West Ham Wookie, good afternoon to you. Liking the players coming in so far. Just need that statement signing. Agree with you there. I'm going to scroll down, so do forgive me if I don't put up all your comments. Michael, Stell, how long is Earthy out injured for? And could that affect a loan move? It could affect the loan move. I don't know, is the honest truth. It's an ankle injury. I think it's the same as what he's had to be. He struggles from them. So it could be out for a few weeks. He will certainly miss most of the preseason, unfortunately. Kent, I don't know. I don't get why people are poo-pooing the Walker-Peters signing. I think it's a quality signing, as you know. There, I spoke to you about it. You did indeed, Kent. I agree with you. I like Walker-Peters. I think he's good. I think he'll be another Wan-Bissaka for us this season, and that can't be bad. And look at how many options that we'll have. You know, I'll repeat them again. Walker-Peters, because play as a right back, cover for Ward-Prowse when he's on AFCON. He can play as a right midfielder, or you could have Walker-Peters right back, Ward-Prowse as Walker-Peters as right back, Wan-Bissaka as right midfield. Walker-Peters can play over in the left. Walker-Peters can play as central defensive midfielder as well. Who else have we got? The big thing, Trini, I'm worried about with players like Elliott. Does he want to play for West Ham? That's the thing that we need to find out. Newcastle also just signed Elanga. There you go. So maybe options are running out for Elliott. Maybe there aren't that many teams that would be interested in him. Todd, he's a London boy. Moving back home makes sense for Elliott. Absolutely. Trini, Elliott has his pick. He will only come if he wants to. I agree with that. But my understanding is, and you've triggered that by telling me Elanga has just signed for Newcastle, there aren't that many teams that are coming in for Elliott. Aston Villa will need to sell before they buy Elliott. Everton, Newcastle, would they add to Elanga? Possibly. Or West Ham. Trini, I heard Liverpool want to add the buyback clause. They did that with the Kwanzaa deal. And that's the thing that will be sticking for us, which is why, Trini, you know, I suggested that maybe a loan deal with an option to buy might suit Liverpool more. John, I was just thinking we could be assassins and kill this season. All the famous ones are double-barreled names. Ward-Prowse, Wan-Bissaka, Walker-Peters, yeah, I'm going to get really confused, aren't I? Who's to say we don't have Lee Harvey Oswald or Mark D. Chapman? Graham, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Elliott sounds like a pipe dream, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I think it might be more than the pipe dream, but I don't know. Kalita, who's better? Elliott, Fernandez, El Kudus? Elliott, for me. Fernandez of Southampton, he's a bit like El Kudus. Did he do enough for me to go, this is a player that we should be buying? Look, they're still young. They're still learning. All of them are. They're all 21, 22 years of age. It'd be Elliott for me of those three. Gual boy, good afternoon to you. If the Spuds paid 55 for Kudus, I think Harvey Elliott is worth the same. No, I don't think he's worth the same. Kudus had 2 seasons in the Premier League. Elliott hasn't. Elliott has been a bit part player rather than a main part of the team. Greg, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Martinez over as money needs to be paid as one lump sum. Not got the cash flow. It's all right. I like Martinez from what I saw about him, the player from Girona. But now that we've got Walker-Peters, it means that we won't be looking for another right back anytime soon. Cockney, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Elliott is decent, but we need that box-to-box athlete unit. I think Elliott, in a way, can maybe provide that, or certainly attacking midfield. As for an attacking midfielder, we should be all over Fernandes, top talent. Possibly. I didn't see anything that made me go top talent last season. Bit like I've already said about El Kudus as well. Diggy. Walker-Peters is decent, but the senior source said he had no interest in him. Are we back in for Potter? One for Sully type window? I really hope not. I don't know where. I genuinely don't know where it's coming from that Potter said he wasn't interested in Walker-Peters. Daniela, good afternoon. West Ham said Bowen for Danny Dyer. Danny Dyer done an interview. What club would he go to? Everyone making everything. That's where I think it's coming from. Just because Danny Dyer said if a Champions League team come in for it, Danny Dyer would be happy for him to go. Doesn't mean we're selling him. Doesn't mean we're selling him. Dead Fallout, good afternoon to you. I think Potts is more traditional central midfielder than a DM. Defensive midfielder. I think Potts is on pay, apparently recorded as being a defensive midfielder, but central midfielder, yeah, fair play. Kalita, heard Everton are in for Louise and Elliott deals. Let's see. They do have money. Corky, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. Sadly, still, Elliott is too good for us at this point in time. He would have high ambitions. Can we big up ladies football? I always do. When the season starts, I always talk about ladies football. Well done to England, by the way, for getting through. Well, they were 2-0 down, weren't they? Really competitive and dramatic. Trini, Aguerd is a footballing defender, not a backs to the wall defender for 80 minutes. If we can get our back line further up the field, he will be good. Yeah, that's fair. John Mbuemo has finally gone to Manure for 70 mil with add-ons. I thought we were slow. There you go. Todd Friendrup, who was linked with, would bring work rate and pace. I totally agree. There's so many midfielders that we've been linked to that everything has gone quiet about. So it's interesting to see what will happen there. Kent, I'm not the greatest fan of Big Tom technically, but he gets goals and he contributed to us getting just under or just over 20 points last season with his goals in games, which is big. Absolutely agree. I've always said it, Trini, Kent, sorry. I've always said he's underrated at West Ham. Diggy, if we play 5 at the back and the box midfielder, where does Bowen fit in, Stel? I'll show you, Diggy, where he fits in. If we play a 5 at the back, you're going to have Bowen and Summerville behind the striker. So you'll have Wan-Bissaka, Diouf, etc. as the wing backs and 3 at the back. Now we can go to a 3 at the back with a 4 in the middle and a 3 up front. Not too dissimilar. Again, Bowen will be on the right side of our striker. So yeah, that's where I think he'll fit in if we play 5 at the back. Let's scroll down. Let's get a few more comments in. I'm still behind. Obsidian. I don't take what players say to heart. They're obligated to do media work and don't get script approval. They say what the club tells them. Who cares? Are we talking about Kudus again? Kalita, the West Ham network just stated that West Ham are back in for Richard Rios. We're not, I'm afraid. Who rejected us for Roma. He would cost 30 million. Look, I don't mind. There's a lot of the attacking midfielders we're linked to I'd like. But unfortunately, we've got to be realistic. Richard Rios has apparently already turned us down. Why would all of a sudden he be interested in coming back to us? Trini, we need energy and legs in midfield. In my opinion, that's amazing. I agree. I totally agree. Oh, man, 55 for Kudus is brilliant. He was awful. We'll kick off at the Spuds because the manager won't take any crap. Harry the Hammer, how are you, mate? I said it very early in the season that Mo Kudus wanted out of the club and was not putting his all in. Trini, if West Ham had started, would we have gotten some of the deal's done. Possibly, quite possibly. But what we're finding out, look, I'm not going to bash Steiding. I've already done that. What we're finding out with Steiding is he just admitted that Guilherme was a gamble. He said a gamble that might not pay off. He just admitted that in part 2 of his interview with, was it Sky Sports Germany or whatever it is? He still stands by the Fulkrug deal that we got a good deal there. Would he have gotten players? Look, he signed off on some of the players that we brought in, and I'm not sure he did as well. Yes, we may well have gotten more players in, but for what? Big money, long-term contracts that we can't afford to have. Ken, Big Tom has to stay at West Ham. If it wasn't for him and Bowen's goals, would have been relegated last season. Absolutely agree. Let's scroll down. GP. Budgie would be a good striker after his story of getting a hat-trick. Budgie who? Not Budgie, Clive. Michael, Cornet was offside when he was born. Toby, mate, how are you? I hope you're well. GP, you're essential beast. I don't know what's going on with you lot. How are you, Toby? I hope you're well. Trodge, box midfield, Kalita. Who's the box midfield? Michael, a 5-2-2-1 formation is Potter's favourite. Yeah. 5-2-2-1. Yeah. Okay. I'll go with that. Harry, I'm extremely happy that Mo has gone and North London Scub will realise how pony he is. Sumo Duki, good afternoon. Got here late. Really think Walker-Peters will only be on 40, 50 grand a week. Yeah, I really do. He was on about 20, 30 grand a week at Southampton. Even if we double that, 20, 30 grand, 50 grand at most. Yeah. Toby, Harvey Elliott and Grealish as 2 attacking midfielders would be lovely. I'm not sold on Grealish. Glenn, Crysencio, if you read this daft shit, of course, would rather have you than that twat Grealish. Lee, how are you, Gatesy? I hope you're well. Mavropanos must go. Mavropanic must go. Nothing yet, mate. Steve, afternoon to you as well. Hope everything is fine. It's a sunny day. What could be better? I'm a bit late. Going back to you do that. Good. Thank you, mate. Darren, can you see Earthy breaking into the first team? No, unfortunately, I can't. I talked about our players who we've got, our academy players. I don't think it's quite the right time for him, to be honest with you. I think he's going to have to prove himself maybe in the championship again next season. But I can see Potts being in the squad. Absolutely. He would have to mess up monumentally, Freddie Potts, to not be in next season's squad. Prefer Fernandes in the Lanzini position. He tackles a surprising amount, which is a bonus, Trodge. Greg, just saying, we will cash in on Bowen, and he is at his premium at 29. Going to be a good time to say goodbye. 100 million. Look, yeah, it would be a good time to cash in on Bowen. It would send the fan base into absolute spiral. But yeah, in all honesty, let's be realistic here. And I'm not advocating him to go, but let's be realistic here. 29 years of age. If a team came in and said 100 mil for him, we'd be a bit silly not to take it, even though his name is Jared Bowen. If we go in full possession, a few Portuguese won't hurt, Trodge. Yeah, good point. Trini, did anyone hear the rumours that Lamau hiring midgets was... Yeah, we did hear the rumours. Diggy, with you the whole way with El Canu still. He's not good enough. I'm not sold on him. I'm not sold on him, to be honest with you. Sess, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. I personally cannot see Elliott happening. The money wouldn't be too much. I could see the club going towards someone like Fernandes, who can play anywhere centrally. Is he good enough, though? Harry, I would love Grealish to come. Typical West Ham signing. We've always loved a Maverick. That's a good point about him being a Maverick. And yeah, in that respect. Darren, Wan-Bissaka, Ward-Prowse, Walker-Peters, Harwood Bellis, John Clare today. I mean, I don't know. Goes on, doesn't it? Who else have we got here? Let's scroll down. Josh Dyer said that months ago in an interview, and it was phrased to him as, would you be happy? Not a question of where would Bowen want to go. Exactly. I think people are making a big deal of that. There's nothing in it. Obsidian. It was the usual ITKs who said Potter didn't want Walker-Peters. Zip. Not going to say, I'm not going to criticize the ITKs every time I do. I get slated for it. Neil, I hope that Grealish rumours are just that, massively overrated, diving clown, slow, steady signing for so far as I'm still worried. We badly need to address our slow, aged midfield. I agree with that. Diggy. On the 24th of June, X stated that a senior source said Potter didn't see Walker-Peters as a player he wanted. Says who? An ITK. Neil, after the Jota tragedy, I wonder if Bowen could become a Liverpool target. Good point. Yeah, it's possible. Dead Fallout. I was watching a Pompey podcast and they were saying Potts is not an all-out 6 or 8, but he's comfortable in both good in that role. Yeah. Kimbo, afternoon to you. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining, mate. Dead Fallout. The problem with Walker-Peters is we never get, what's FKs in range? I'm trying to work out what FK means and I don't understand. Toby, Summerville and Fulkrug were outstanding for 45 minutes against Villa last season. We're going to be fine next season. Corky, remember how good Cornet was at Burnley? Why did we make so many players worse? Well, Moyes did. He's got a good chance, hasn't he, Cornet? If he can stay fit, Trudge. If West Ham, it's West Ham's curse. All form players get injured as soon as they sign for us. Oops. Dallas. Thank you, mate. Always enjoy. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated for joining. Thank you for getting involved, Dallas, as well. 40k a week is 2 million a year. It sure is. But some of our players are on 70, 80, 90k a week. Kent, any news on Sunderland away allocation going on sale? Home tickets have completely sold out, apparently. It'll come soon. Someone said it's today, but I haven't heard anything. GP, if I had 40k a week, I would buy a lot of those fingers of fudge. I'm sure you would. Trini, 2 clubs could afford him, Man City and Liverpool. They both have spent big already. Would not splash another 100 mil on Bowen. Yeah, Corky. Fulkrug looks fit and could be a Bowen to Newcastle. Maybe. Corky. Fulkrug looks fit and could be a massive plus for us this season. He really appears motivated. I like his character. It's all about, players staying fit. Neil, isn't this the same reason to consider letting Souček go if a bid of 15, 20? Yes, totally agree. If someone comes in, look, if we know that we're replacing any of the players that are supposedly leaving, that goes for Aguerd. Bowen is not going. But Aguerd, Bowen, Fulkrug, Souček, whoever, Paqueta, Alvarez, so long as we know that we're going to be replacing those players, then of course you'll take the money and bring in players that Potter will want. Absolutely. Dead Fallout. 100 mil for Bowen ain't a good deal because we'd get relegated. Trudge. I thought it was nice of Yamal giving work to the short people after the Snow White fiasco, put many out of jobs. Let's scroll down. Roberts, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. I heard athletes at London Stadium on Saturday. Don't understand that. You're going to have to explain, mate. Garino, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Trini, Newcastle because of PSR. Newcastle may be the richest club in the world, but they just don't generate enough income and will have to sell to buy. Yeah, fair play. Darren, away games are usually listed 5 weeks before on a Wednesday, but still nothing. So it's imminent. Josh, I don't think it's worth hypothesizing the sale of Bowen. Not now, anyways. I think our issues right now is a slow midfield and a thin attack. We need athleticism and options. I totally agree with you there. Let me summarize for you, people, because I've been on for an hour, almost an hour and a half. So let me summarize. Carl Walker-Peters is imminent. He's had his medical and should be named, if not today, then over the weekend. His stats, I think he compares well. Certainly better than Soufal, with the greatest of respect to Soufal, and not a million miles away from Wan-Bissaka in terms of accuracy, pass rate, number of chances created, and so on and so forth. So I think he'll be a good signing. And let's not forget what I said. A good cover in the AFCON, can play right back, right midfield, right wing back, Give us options. Imagine Wan-Bissaka and Walker-Peters on the pitch, which pushes, is Steve listening, which pushes Bowen as a striker, He can play on the left side. He can play defensive midfield. So he's a good signing. The news on Elliott at this moment in time is the senior source is too expensive, but the rumours won't go away. The problem, of course, is going to be, this whole thing about buyback clauses. So I wonder if we offered a loan with an option to buy, would Liverpool be interested in that? Senior source for Jack Grealish says he was not the player he used to be 2-3 years ago. He's on 300 grand a week, and it's highly unlikely that we will sign him. Other players that we've not mentioned, Coney de Winter. Now, for me, if Dinos or if Aguerd is sold, then we're in for players like Coney de Winter. Bilal El Kudus, as I already said, I'm not 100% convinced on him, I'm afraid. And if I had a choice between Elliott, Fernandez, and Kudus, for me, it'd be Elliott. Oh, we forgot to mention Douglas Luiz. Can we afford him? Another player that we're apparently after. There's many clubs in for him, so it'd be interesting to see what happens there. We haven't talked about keepers. Apparently, Mads Hermansen is the goalie that we will be targeting. So let's see what happens there. What about our academy players? Callum Marshall could well become our third choice striker this summer if we go out and get a striker to be back up to Fulkrug or competing with Fulkrug. But my gut tells me that he might be loaned out to a championship team next season. People asking, what about Daniel Cummings? He's going to be part of the under-21 squad next season. Maybe he'll get a sniff at the senior squad when we're in cup competitions, but no more than that. For me, the most likely academy player to make the senior squad next season is going to be Freddie Potts. I think George Earthy will be given a chance to shine. Of course, he's got an ankle injury at the moment, which scuppers that somewhat. We don't know how long he's out for. But at this moment in time, he's got a chance. But it's quite likely he may go out on loan instead. Lewis Orford, a classy, young central midfielder. But I think he's the one going out on loan as well. What about our senior players? There's talk about maybe Mikel Antonio, a possible return. Antonio, as we know, is training with the under-21 squad. It's possible that we might see, a late deal happening for him. But Antonio is not happy with the deal that he's been offered. Let's be realistic, Mikel. There aren't any other offers on the table, because if they were, you would have taken them by now. Naif Aguerd, at the moment, not going anywhere. So he's looking like he'll certainly be part of the squad next season. Thomas Souček, Everton, bid 12 million for him. If that's true, come on, Moyes. You know he's worth much more than that. Emerson, we're expecting a sale soon. Given now that we've got Diouf, given now we've got Walker-Peters, who's versatile, can play on the right and the left, I think we'll be saying goodbye to Emerson imminently. Maxwell Cornet, currently part of next year's plans, but if he goes, we're going to want to sell him as well rather than a loan signing. Edson Alvarez, we know his stock has risen because of the CONCACAF Gold Cup, but again, no bids in as yet. Lucas Paqueta, we still haven't heard anything from the FA. It's outrageous, to be quite honest with you, that we still haven't heard anything about him, but there's an uncertain future for him. If he does get off the FA hearing, if he's found innocent, then I think he might still be off anyway. And for me, Crysencio Summerville has got a big season ahead. Many saying that he won't be ready until September. I wonder if he might just make an appearance, probably not against Grasshoppers of Zurich at the weekend, but maybe during the USA tour. A few more comments and then I'm off. Franco, if a club was after Bowen, they would have tried when we were desperate for cash. Really good point there, Franco. I totally agree with you there. Glenn, how keen are we for Elliott if Bowen goes the other way? Oh, that is a good question, Glenn. Oh, even more keen, wouldn't we? Because we'd see him as a replacement. Darren, Stelios, I bought a season ticket for the first time. Wondering how does it work? Do you get an email per home game? You do indeed, mate. Well, no, you'll have it on your app. It will be in your wallet, and you'll get an update for your every home game ticket. It will download into your wallet automatically. Greg, thanks, Del. Thank you, mate, for joining. Thank you for commenting, Darren. They will email you for the whole season it updates. Yeah. GP. Fulkrug plays 90 minutes, then gets injured after meeting Andy Carroll. Corky, do you ever get contacted by Sky or TalkSport to give you views on West Ham? You always give intelligent and work. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. No. Go on. Tell them to contact Stell at West Ham Voice at westhamvoice@gmail.com. Thank you. I appreciate that comment. Thank you. Garino, that senior source seems to get a lot wrong for someone making it all. For a senior source. Josh, Fulkrug does look like a real positive presence for the squad. I wonder if his dig at the team was at Kudus back when he kicked off in his post-match interview. Good point. Happy with Hermansen? He'd be decent, wouldn't he? Absolutely. That's a really good point. I wonder if it was Fulkrug that was calling Kudus out. Trudge, 2 goalkeeper coaches should become darn, any goalkeeper should become darn good. GP, I think the senior source is just a bot's hole of HP at Sully's desk. Mr. Gilby, how are you? Bowen will never leave West Ham. Walker-Peters is a good signing, but if we did sell Bowen, Sullivan would need to go into hiding and never come out. Earthy is out for 4 weeks, is he? Thank you for the update there. Steve, Fulkrug, Walker-Peters only, Ward-Prowse only plays golf because it's all set pieces. Garino, Fulkrug will be doing the samba next time he scores. Yeah, I saw him, Paqueta trying to teach him how to do the samba. I saw that. Trudge, Scar's got to be loaned for 3 months, perhaps. Now we've got Walker-Peters. I'd keep him. I'd keep him in the squad. I think he can learn more from Walker-Peters and Ward-Prowse rather than going out on loan, to be honest. I get your point, but I'd keep him. Franco, very happy with Walker-Peters. I'm shocked how little fans rate him. Getting Dawson vibes. Last season's stats are nothing special, but he really is so good. What happened there? But he really is so much better than last season's stats. Absolutely agree. Obsidian, senior source is a senior citizen and probably has dementia. Robert, Diamond League Athletics to be hosted at the London Stadium. Does that mean they've changed the stadium again for this? Anyway, Michael, long trips for Bowen if he signs up north. Danny will never leave her roots. Neil, Antonio, no. Simply if there is a statement of stagnation, that has got to be it. Trudge, Antonio was on a podcast the other night moaning about Solomon not giving him pay rise. Sorry, mate, but Trudge again and putting Skamaka and others on 40k more. Come on, mate. He's on 90 grand a week at the moment. You know, it's the best he's going to get, you know, and he's not being offered that, you know, for a 1-year extension, which is why he turned it down. Trudge, so not sure he'll be coming back now. I agree. Not sure he will be. Steve, I saw Akin Fenwa's pod with Antonio. Thought the same thing. Look, he said he's got other offers on the table. Let's see. Danny, thank you, mate. Much appreciated. And thank you for being involved. Mr. McCarthy, is it just me or does Stell on 6'2" cartoons look better than this? Thank you. Or not thank you, I should say. Corky, thanks. My number one. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. I had a great. You too as well. My pleasure. Well, it's because I ain't got any work. That's why I did it. So don't get used to it, people. I can't do an hour and a half on a Friday afternoon all the time. But we'll see, eh? Obsidian, GP to Obsidian. I doubt Danny is on Brewdog with Bowen's wage. Harrod's champagne instead. Steve, hope Antonio's the Board Cabbage Cup match. Is the Board Cabbage Cup match deserves a good send-off. That's a good point. Yeah. He plays part in that. People, thank you. It was off the cuff. Thought I'd do it, but I enjoyed doing it. Good to be back live. Haven't done it for a while. Who knows? I might do a West Ham Weekly on Monday night. You never know. Look, really enjoyed it. Really much appreciated. Thank you for all your comments, etc. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all very, very soon.